How's everybody doing? Steve Brandis here, looking to talk you through my training week and give you some insight onto what training is really like for my build to Ironman Wisconsin and how maybe not perfect it is, and maybe you can pick up some things just by taking a look at the training that I've been doing. Originally, I was gonna do Ironman Wisconsin. I'm from Madison, but really decided to move that 2 weeks later so I can be out there in much more of a support role for the athletes in the half Ironman on Saturday and the full Ironman on Sunday. So thankfully, I already had an entry from like an injury COVID deferment from many years ago. So I had that entry, so I can just do Chattanooga instead. So that is about, I think, 3.5, 4.5 more training weeks to Chattanooga. So that gives me a little bit more time, but doesn't matter too much. But just going to scroll through here so you can take a look at what the last couple training weeks have looked like. Had a big, so here's Lake Country half Ironman in Oconomowoc. That was a good race for me. My first half Ironman in many years. Had my best half Ironman run, 126 off the bike, and I guess split it. That was pretty cool. Swam pretty good. Not great, but swam pretty good. The week before was a big week for me, just in terms of volume, kind of like building through that. I went through my first really big heat prep into Lake Country and not even knowing if it was going to be hot or not, but I did 15 to 30 minutes of steam room and sauna almost every day up until Wednesday. I didn't put all of it in TrainingPeaks, but basically 10 days out, I smoked myself with the heat prep to really try to raise up the blood volume. A lot of good literature on that, and I found that to be really effective on race day, which is how I felt. With that. Big 3,700 kilojoule ride. That was a good one. We previewed the Madison 70.3 with that. Whatever you do not look at my swimming volume. That's just, the nature of the beast, and not the best. You can see here what is going on, Steve. So this right here is Age Group Nationals in Milwaukee. We went to that, and this here is our Ironman camp. I snuck out for some level of a long ride before we left. I did 11 by 1 mile with 1 minute of rest on a very hilly terrain in the middle of the day, average 650s. Super cool to see that workout push through. And then because we had our Ironman camp, we had a dinner on Friday night and our simulation, then our run. Didn't do much those days, but was a pretty productive week. So if you look at 11 and a half hours with 2 days of nothing, a pretty productive week. Really good threshold ride here with the team, 33 minutes, pushing 290. That was very hilly, so that was super cool. And then 10K threshold in the middle of the day, very hilly, really good run for me. And then the 12th, so I did Lake Country, and I only have one cassette for my bike, and that's on the disc wheel. And so when I got off of the first ride, so I did 2 hours first in the trainer to keep like really good quality kind of there. And then I immediately threw the wheel on. I was like, oh, the cassette is still on my disc wheel. And I had to ride my disc wheel. And so when you put a disc wheel on your bike, you can't go out for a recovery spin. And then instantly my mindset went to, I'm going to smash this. And so essentially I just did the Ironman loop, and I did it as hard as I could. And wattage wise was really good. I didn't even actually have my computer in front of me because I didn't have it set up fully, and so the computer was in my back pocket, and I was just full on head down kind of smashing through that. And so to do 148-ish after 2 hours, I was pretty happy with that. Once I finished it, I was actually not very happy with the time. I thought I'd go a lot quicker, but I'm thinking, well, you had really hard workouts up to it. You rode 2 hours and then you smashed it. So I'll take that as it is. And then 2 days of camp, so I didn't do anything those 2 days just because it's so busy. And then I went into last week pretty motivated, 4 by 8 minutes at 100% of FTP. That was a great workout, felt really good, cruised off of it. And then I did a little bit of a longerish ride in the PM. So I did almost 2 hours, Mount Horeb and back. You'll see video on that. And then I did the team ride, so just like a good aerobic ride. And then I did the 10K threshold run again, the exact same route in the middle of the day, very hilly. Chattanooga's run course is very hilly, very hot, so I want to keep kind of preparing myself for that. And then Thursday did probably one of my only swims of the week. No, I swim on Monday. 2 swims that week. Don't judge me on that, but that's reality. But that was a good workout. And then Friday had a really good ride. So this is the key session for me. This is something that I focus on quite a bit, where I do intervals first. So this one I did 4 by 8 minutes, again on the trainer to keep the quality quite high. But a lot of it was actually designed to burn off a lot of stored glycogen. And then I went into the 3.5 hour zone 2 plus ride. And it's a big ride, and so much of it is focused on energy expenditure. And the point of that is, I know that my Ironman will be anywhere from 3,400 to 3,800 kilojoules, and that's energy. And so the point of that is to burn off glycogen and to ride steady, around Ironman watts for the remaining almost 4 hours, right? Because I did like 20-minute warm up, and then I did the intervals, and then I cruised for the rest of the 2 hours in the beginning, and then I did that steady ride after. And that's important for me. Like, I found like that's a very key session, especially for Ironman, is to know how much energy expenditure is that Ironman bike going to take you, and replicating the energy expenditure, not just saying, hey, my Ironman bike will be 250 TSS or 260 or whatever it'll be, better not be above 300, but because you can cheat that TSS pretty easily, and you can get to a pretty high TSS with a lower than what you'd want kilojoule expenditure. So I look at that in a very simple context of, this long ride I'm going to get 3,500 kilojoules or 4,000 kilojoules, because that means that I will have met the energy demand of what the bike will go on. And this ride here went really well for me. And in my way of looking at a really good ride came from the energy I felt in that 3.5 hours after the intervals. I felt really strong. My heart rate was very sustainable. I didn't see a drift up in that, which is really, really, really good signs for myself to look at, in terms of how is that fatigue resistance showing? Because I tell all my athletes, everybody's good for the first 2 hours, 3 hours on the bike, but who's good for the next 2 hours after that? And I think practicing that final bit, by doing negative split rides or doing intervals in the second half of the workout. But this is the one where I did the intervals in the beginning part of the workout to shut off that glycogen, to make it harder for myself later. But the fact that my energy was very, very consistent in the second half of the ride tells me that things are on track. And again, when you look at my hours, I'll go through the dashboard here, but nothing's really exciting. But when you look at this, most of the big days, the big weeks that I've had over 90 days, this is over 90 days, 13, 15, 14 and a half, 14 and a half, 15, there's another 12. But, when you're looking at some of these, almost every week that I have will always have a day off, or sometimes 2 days off. So you'll see a 12-hour day, but it's with 2 days off. Or you'll see, a 16-hour week or 14 and a half, and it has a day off. So the training is actually pretty solid, and I like taking days off. And sometimes before it would really haunt me that I'm taking a day off of training. But then I just came to the reality that we are in the busiest point of our coaching season. All of our athletes are really kind of building to their peak. And for me to expect that my training is going to be perfect, once I've realized that, my anxiety level dropped tremendously. And so I'm going to take a day off. It's fine. Take 2 days off. It's fine. Because I'd rather get to the race healthy and ready to roll than injured and burned out. Another thing too is that the long runs are getting longer. So here we did the Lake Loop. I did this with Bob, who's also a great athlete, going to Kona this year. Really tremendous runner. Well, just a great athlete all around, because obviously he's going to Kona. And this was a really cruisy run for us. It was very, very humid, and I was wearing the ASIC carbon shoes just because as the long runs get longer, I like to wear carbon shoes just to reduce the pounding on the legs, so I can kind of get back into it a lot quicker. And for us to kind of cruise 730s, minimal heart rate drift, if any, in a very humid day, I was pretty pumped with that. That's all I have for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I hope you found this helpful. I think people really enjoy looking through somebody else's training and seeing, what is this person doing this close to an Ironman? And as you can tell, it's not perfect, and I'm cool with that. but I'm feeling good because the key sessions that I'm doing are all going really, really well. And I still have, again, like 4.5 weeks of training weeks left. And I'm excited to see what Chattanooga will bring. How's everybody doing? All right, I'm just finished 2 hours on the trainer to get in some good quality riding, and that went pretty good. Legs are a little tired, which is fine, but got in, like I said, 2 hours on the trainer, got in 4 by 8 minutes at threshold, just ranging from 90% to 100%. Got off, got on the bike, and now I'm on Military Ridge. It's a really nice path. Military Ridge is a nice path that goes, well, I'm taking it west out to Mount Horeb and then Blue Mounds, and I'll be doing a loop out there. I'm not exactly sure how far because I want to go 3 hours to get in 5 total for the ride today. Just passed somebody, which I think is crazy talking to myself. But either way, so goal is to get 5 hours in today. This will just be like what I call a Zone 2 ride, Zone 2 Plus, where, I'm on a bridge. Zone 2 Plus ride where I'll try to keep the power consistent 70 to 80% for most of the 3 hours, which isn't hard, it's not easy, but again, just a good aerobic stimulus, getting those kilojoules in. But this is beautiful. Can't beat it. We'll check it out. I'm gonna head over to Mounds Road climb. I'll for sure climb that, but I'll take you over there, so onward. All right, I gotta change gear here. Bad timing to get some video. All right, we're at Blue Mounds. Stopped at the gas station real quick. What's the go-to? Doritos, nacho, and cherry Pepsi. Kind of gets the legs going, but I'm running a little late on time, so I can't do the loop, so I just went straight to Mounds Road. So I'm gonna go down Mounds Road and then climb it, and then depending on how the legs feel, I'm gonna hopefully go to the very top, come down, take the path all the way home. So today's ride likely gonna be more like 5.5 hours, which is fine, but we're about to go down Mounds Road after this. Pretty sweet little descent. I'll just turn around, come back up it. That'd be good. Cool. See you at the top, hopefully. Well, it's all gravel going downhill, so not gonna do that. Need to make a decision here on what I'm gonna do. I know the suspense is quite high with the climb, but there's only one way kind of around it, and I need to make that decision. So okay, we'll see what happens. So I went down Ryan Road, which is the road that parallels, no gravel. It's a good climb. Short down, turn around, came back up. Ryan's still gonna be pretty hard, Ryan Road. So I'll climb Ryan, go all the way up to the top, Mounds Park, head on home. We're going up. How's everybody doing? So I have this swim video that I wanted to share. It was recorded last week when I was doing my 33,000 or 3,500 yard swim, which is a long swim for me. And I was pretty tired, but I was also quite motivated to get a good swim in. And Cynthia was there and I says, hey, can you just get like some swim video of me? And she says, yep. And as you'll notice, I have on a ton of equipment and I have on paddle, snorkel, buoy, ankle band. And so this was definitely a very large pull set. So the workout this day was very more easy aerobic swimming where I did a 1,000 straight. And I think I did 4 to 5 by 500, but it was just cruising. It was very much a cruise set. And just because I was tired from the day itself. And you'll see here, I'll just play it as I talk through it. But you can tell I'm definitely have a lot of equipment on, and those are the Finnis paddles, Finnis snorkel. This is a buoy that I have, and an ankle band, which is made out of an inner tube. And so, when you're looking at the swim, just for reference here, I'm swimming about 127 pace. Yeah, probably about 127 pace for this. That's a wonderful flip turn for all you swimmers out there. Typical triathlete flip turn. And but no, this was very much just like a good cruise swim. This is not easy swimming. This is not hard swimming for me. But a lot of times when I'm wearing a snorkel, I'm definitely focused on my stroke and what the stroke looks like. And so when I'm looking at the stroke with my snorkel, there's a couple things going on. And so I'll start with the right arm. Is the first thing that jumped out with me is how much I'm swimming front quadrant. And what I mean by that is right about there, both of the arms are in front of my head. I'm not purposely trying to swim like that. I'm trying to get my arm. At this point, I would love for my right arm to be right underneath that shoulder, well into the catch more. And you can see here with my right arm, which is my dominant arm, and I thought that I swim better with my right, but off of this video and other videos that I'll share later, not this video, is look at this right arm as it moves through. So the right arm enters, got good extension through here, on the hips here pretty well. This is pretty solid. Everything lines up well. And you can tell right through here is where things go wrong. So instead of getting into a good catch, pushing a lot of water down, you can tell here by the angle of this arm, it's not straight on, but I'd guesstimate that to be at 140 degrees, so pretty open. It's a pretty open arm angle, and that is definitely a representation that you're producing a lot of power straight down, and obviously you want to have the water and the power production being pushed backwards. So you can tell here too, even under the body there, a lot of the force is actually right in there. So and then as I come through, there's not a lot of power production being pressed. So one thing that I looked at right away is as I'm reaching through, trying to get that arm into that catch. And one thing I notice with a lot of swim evaluations that I do is you can tell if somebody's actually in the perfect catch position by where is the hand here in relation to their elbow, right about there. And at this point of the swim stroke, you don't want to be seeing this hand or that forearm because it should be locked, hidden behind the elbow. And that means that the paddle is right at that 90 to 100 degrees. You're in that really powerful arm position. But right here, you can tell by looking at it, I'm pulling with my elbow here, my hand here. And so I'm pulling down. The water direction is more to the side. It's not actually straight down. And so that's going to take a little bit more just more awareness to get that arm in before I'm actually trying to produce the acceleration backwards. So we'll just kind of move that back a little bit so you can kind of see it. But you can just see coming through, good reach, good extension through there. But I'm just not getting into that catch well. So the power production of the right arm could be better. And so we'll swim this through. Yep, you can tell again. And it's not a straight arm. Like I'm not swimming straight arm, but you can tell that the direction of water that I'm pushing is definitely down. It's not very much back. So trying to do a little bit more sculling, a little bit more drills to work on the patience of that. And we're not even to the left arm yet. So it's a great shot. So we are going to get to the left arm. So let's watch that. The left arm I'm not super thrilled with for a couple reasons here, and we'll slow it down in a second. So just watching it, just watching the stroke. What a stroke. And okay, so left arm. First thing I'm noticing, again, front quadrant swimming a little bit too much, even worse so on the right arm, which means my right arm catch, as talked about, is not great. And I think that I enter really poorly here because of this right arm, right? So what the heck are you talking about, Steve? So when you look at that right arm, it's not catching super well, which means I'm probably a little off balance coming to the left side. And look at how I enter here. I'm almost entering, I am, because look where the splashing is. I'm entering elbow first, hand second, and also look at the direction of my hand here, right? So you can see that that hand is definitely turned in a little bit. What just happened? You can tell that the left arm is entered in, turned in, elbows up, but really I'm still entering with my elbow first, and then that's not ideal at all. And then look at this left arm, same thing. Look at that front quadrant. I'm just taking way too much time to get into that catch phase that produces the power backwards. But the same thing, I'm pulling back, and look at that, right? As we talked about on the other arm, elbow, shoulder, but the hand's in front. Okay, so production of power, not as good as what it could be. I'm pulling with that elbow first, hand second. I'm not pulling with the unit altogether. But look how quickly, as I get under that catch, how that left arm just collapses. I mean, look at that elbow in this position. You should be producing a lot of power here, but that left arm is totally collapsing underneath my body, which is the peak level of power at that point, and I'm getting no power whatsoever out of that. And a lot of that stems from that dropped elbow right about there. And I mean, I'm getting my distance per stroke is probably from right about there to there. So if you measure that, that's probably about maybe a foot of travel, or maybe a foot of proper catching with the left arm, and then it just totally collapse under you. I'm touching my hip, but it's not actually effective distance per stroke through that whatsoever. So we'll watch a little quicker. Elbow first, hand second, not how ideally you should be working through that. I think a lot of that stemming just from a little bit too front quadrant, because look at that. That left arm should be getting much more in line through here, and it's not. And so one thing I'm thinking about of why it doesn't look as good here, I'm going to validate why I don't look super great, is I think some of it just has to do with them wearing paddles, and obviously paddles are you're increasing resistance, to gain strength through this. And I'm not trying to get strength through this. I'm trying to gain feeling of the water, sensation through the water. But I think because I have the paddles on, that's slowing down the ability to move that hand through. But either way, I'm promoting bad technical habits. So probably a better idea just to use snorkel, buoy, and ankle band. And I love using ankle band, buoy, and snorkel, or just buoy and ankle band. If you've never done it, it's not easy whatsoever. But what I notice is that when I have on ankle band and buoy is it really teaches me about the balance of my stroke. So if I'm swimming and I feel like I'm shifting from side to side, I look down and I see, okay, am I catching off to the side? Are my elbows really dropping? Like, what's creating that unstableness within my hips and my core? And, the ankle band and buoy doesn't fix that. It just shows you deficiencies within the stroke. And that's why I really like using this, especially for more aerobic swimming. And then when the stroke is feeling pretty good, I actually just like using ankle band and buoy, or ankle band, buoy, and snorkel, because it is rather difficult. It really forces you to put everything together. It really forces you to grab and then rotate over your body. And this was the purpose of the swim. But looking at the video is a great way to analyze, what does the stroke look like? How are things to focus on? And since this video, I have taken this feedback and I've been working on it. And because again, when you're looking to get faster, a lot of it does come down to power production, force production, as well as drag, right? As well as drag. But I am spending a lot of time trying to get that arm in before I push the power through. But that's all I got. Hope you found this helpful. Hope you found this video helpful, just with Ironman training and swim training. And that's what I want to try to give you more of, because I think that this was helpful. So hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye-bye.